Hello friends of the earth, it's me, Mina T99, also known as Mina Thermometer, here with my very first vlog, Intuition. This video is dedicated to Catherine Patterson and our TOK class. Love you guys! Okay, so first of all, we need to discuss what is intuition. Now, if your name is Olivia Collins, this is probably a question on your mind. No offense, Olivia, I love you. Okay. So intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning about it. It's also understood in the world of philosophy to be in judgments, solutions, and ideas that pop into your consciousness without being aware of them. So intuition can be used in our daily lives, and we find it in almost every interaction and every aspect of life. It actually, when you think about it, you use your intuition a lot more than you might think. So one crucial way that intuition is used is in social interactions. Now, if you have ever been in a social interaction, you will understand this. Say you walk up to somebody, you've never met them before, but you're starting a conversation. Suddenly there's certain cues you're getting that are telling you, hey, I like this person. You're not sure what exactly it is and you can't pinpoint it, and that's your intuition guiding you. It's just the feelings that you're getting from that person that tell you that's someone that you want to be friends with. And this can also work in the opposite way if you're making judgments and you realize that you don't really necessarily like this person, even though you might have known them for half a minute, and that's also your intuition guiding you against becoming closer with that person. And that's something that we as humans have sort of evolved to for generations, and this can be a good thing. You might have intuition that leads you to really tell good people and people that you can be friends with, or your intuition may lead you to judge people a lot worse than they deserve to be judged, and you might actually later become friends with people you originally judged. I know I've been there. Intuition also plays a part in survival instinct. So when you make snap decisions, it's not knowledge or well thought out, carefully and logically reasoned processes that contribute to these quick decisions you make, but it's your intuition that's guiding you. And intuition can actually be the force that leads you to make heroic decisions in a dangerous situation or to step aside and protect yourself. So your intuition may speak to you and tell you to protect others or to prioritize yourself. And in that way, intuition can also relate to the other way of knowing emotions in sort of creating this moral compass that we guide ourselves with. So another hugely important, or should I say okay, I'm not gonna do it. Another hugely important way that intuition is a part of our lives is through creativity. And creativity really would not be what it is without intuition. Creative artists and creative people aren't really inspired by logic or reason. This is against what art really stands for. An artist has a vision that they might not have gotten from a set inspiration, but it just may have come to them, or it may have been guided by other inspirations, but it's sort of the intuition that guides artists and different sort of musicians, writers, all those sort of fields of art to make creative things that contribute to our culture and our world. Here today with my violin teacher, Mrs. Myers. Mrs. Myers, how do you feel that intuition plays a part in your teaching every day?
It's really fun to teach without a real concrete plan, because I never know where we're going to go together, where my mind is going to go. And if I just kind of almost observe myself and see where my mind takes me, I can't predict where it's going to go. And that's, I think, how I use my intuition. It's really fun to teach that way. And it's really fun to sometimes observe myself teaching when I come up with an idea. I don't know where it comes from, but I come up with an idea and I think, where did that come from? How did I do that? How did I think of that? And it's, I think that's one reason why I really, really like to teach. I never know what to expect. I never know what's going to happen. And it's really fun to just kind of watch that unfold.
Do you think that intuition is something you ever use in playing or performing with violin or music in any way?
Yes, although sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get to the point where I feel like my tuition can completely take over. And that's kind of my goal. There's so much to think about, and violin is so complex. You're doing something with both hands, and there's always something to fix and always something to change. But hopefully after I've put in the amount of work that I need to in playing something, I can let something else take over and just play. And the times that I'm able to do that, it's really fun. And I guess it's similar to when I'm teaching. I can surprise myself, like how did I think of that, and almost being an observer of myself. And it's just really fun when that can happen.
Do you think that intuition, when it comes to your teaching and your violin playing, is a valid way of saying you can know something when it comes to like those parts of your life?
Say it again.
So we call intuition a way of knowing in our class. So there's other ways of knowing, like reason, so you can know something through a reason or like that sort of thing. Obviously it's a little different with music, but do you think intuition is like a valid, is something you can trust in?
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, it's, I think, sometimes the most trustworthy because it's pure. Your intuition is pure. You're not letting anything else muddle up, things that your brain tells you, voices in your head. It's kind of like I think that intuition is stripped of, any outside voices influencing. And to me, intuition is one of the most pure ways of knowing.
So as I touched on before, a lot of your moral compass is also something that's guided by intuition. So let's say you're a 2-year-old kid and somebody tells, okay, maybe not 2, that wasn't very logical, like a 6-year-old kid, and somebody tells you that somewhere in the world there was a mass suicide. So you don't really know what suicide is, so they explain this concept to you. And it's not like anybody ever spelled out to you, mass suicides are immoral and they should make you feel cold and dark and awful about the world. But that's probably how that 6-year-old is going to feel. And it's sort of their intuition that's guiding them across all cultures of what things are really terrible and what things are just wrong and tragic in every way. And similarly, people across all cultures, I think, no matter how you were raised, to some extent, have the same sense of what are the most joyous things and what are the most tragic things. And that's sort of how your moral compass is guided by something that you just grow into that you can't really explain, your intuition. So how is intuition used in society as a way of knowing to contribute to the world and make it a better place? How is this knowledge we gain from intuition really useful? I actually have a great answer to this question. So in this era of innovation, as we might call it, intuition is one of the most important ways of knowing, and it can set apart the next groundbreaking technologies and ideas and ways that lead to things like the iPhone or the latest MacBook or touchscreen technology or any one of those amazing technology breakthroughs we've seen in the last few years. They were all guided by intuition. So Steve Jobs himself actually called intuition more powerful than intellect in this way, saying that the sort of imaginative drive that comes from somewhere you can't explain is what really matters more than just studying things that can be memorized in books. Ah, fresh. So, one of the biggest problems that I personally have with intuition, and that everyone really has with intuition, is the fact that it can result in biases. That's right, you heard me, biases. These biases can be heuristics or cognitive biases, and both are extremely bad and should be avoided at all costs. So here we see how a very intelligent member of the community can still be a victim of bias. A local doctor will respond to rap music. So I want you to listen to this song. It's really good. It's one of my favorites. I think it's really meaningful. Gotta turn the volume up.
We gotta witness. You gotta see this. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Vanessa nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this.
Well, first of all, you really appreciate this?
Yes, it's one of my favorite songs.
Your favorite song?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure this is singing, first of all. This is your favorite? I think we have a serious problem with music taste here. What's that?
So, what was your takeaway from that song you just listened to?
I don't think we have had to talk about your music taste in a long time. That's my takeaway.
What was your personal opinion of the song? Do you think it has value to society and is regarded as a genre of music that can be respected?
I guess if you want to be a drug dealing pimp, maybe it has value to society, but otherwise I'm not so sure.
I hope I'm not in trouble. As you can see, my dad just made some faulty comments about this song. Well, I guess in his opinion they weren't faulty, but he made some biased judgments about people who listen to rap music and rap artists such as Kendrick Lamar. He didn't really look further into the lyrics or look further into Kendrick's other songs and messages, and you didn't see that Kendrick is often viewed by many to be a poetic rap artist and that he's sort of a symbol for the Black Lives Matter movement, and he really uses the language and the motifs that he uses to empower his culture and his agenda. So he missed all those things and made comments about pimps and drug dealing, so you know, not all of us can have that perfected intuitive life, so it's a shame. So it's really important that we know how to avoid falling into the trap of our faulty intuition with biases and making sure we can counter these biases in an effective way. So one of the ways we can do this is by learning about the different sort of cognitive biases, and this will just help you to be more aware of them and think to yourself before you come to a quick judgment about something, and just be more aware of how you make judgments. Another way to counter biases and faulty intuition is by practicing rational thinking, and this encourages you to step back in a situation and consider yourself and consider how you're coming to the conclusions you're coming to, and using more reason and thinking more behind them. Another way you can be more well equipped against biases and heuristics are by practicing arguing the other side or shifting your perspectives a little. And this is something I actually like to do a lot because it helps you understand a different point of view and perspective in a new way. And if you actually open yourself up to that, you might realize that you didn't know something about the other perspective, and you might even find you change your own standing on something. So your intuition really wouldn't be right. Also, thinking about the points of views of others, that one's a little self-explanatory. Just listen to other people. So, for the last point, we're going to discuss why does intuition deserve to be labeled among the other ways of knowing when it's something that honestly seems so fleeting or not really defined. Well, I would say that expertise, creativity, spirituality, and love, these are all hugely important parts of the human existence and the human experience, and there's no real knowledge in these areas except that which is intuitive. Like, if you think about love or creativity or spirituality, you can't know anything for sure in these areas, but you do have intuition that guides you. And these are such important things that intuition really is a way of knowing things within these categories. So it's easy to draw out proofs and make conclusions for a lot of statements. You can argue to any end about how correct they are, but when it comes to deciding in the moment, you often don't have the time to think out logically all the different reasons behind a certain situation. So in that aspect, intuition is a way of knowing because it guides you to make quick decisions, which are used a lot more in our day-to-day life. Intuition should also be regarded as a full-fledged way of knowing because there's so many aspects of life which you can't prepare for by studying or by engaging in the other ways of knowing, like reason, language, memory, because they're just something that it comes to you and it makes you an individual. And also, intuition may not be enough justification for knowledge that you can share with others and claim as accurate. But it's a start and a basis, and it helps you to better understand your own patterns of thinking and connect them to the world around you. That concludes my very first vlog and presentation on intuition. Hope you guys liked it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely tell me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'd be very interested in knowing them. Also, shout out of the day goes to Greta Laurie, who helped me in my very difficult and challenging first vlog experience. So Greta, much love to you. Bye guys, love you all.